complete trash. For those of you wondering, yeah, I saw the new Charlie's Angels series last year, and yeah, it sucked. I don't get what the point of this was. This wasn't Charlie's Angels. This was She Spies with the more well-known title slapped on it. Heck, She Spies was more entertaining than this. They tried to make a darker, edgier version of a camp classic, and is anyone surprised it bombed? It's bad enough that lately Hollywood has become more obsessed with simply reusing TV shows of the past, but it becomes even worse when they feel they have to make it in name only by rewriting everything about it, thus eliminating almost everything that made the original enjoyable. Which is why today I've got another example of someone's idea to totally reboot a classic TV show and completely failed at it. The 2007 remake of The Bionic Woman. The original Bionic Woman started as a supporting cast member on The $6 Million Man. Jamie Summers was Steve Austin's childhood sweetheart who was critically injured in a parachuting accident which drove Austin to have her saved by the same bionics that were implanted in him. The character was supposed to be a one-shot and was killed off at the end of the two-parter, but Lindsay Wagner's portrayal won over audiences, and thus she was brought back and got her own spin-off in 1976. The Bionic Woman aired for 3 years on 2 different networks and actually rose to popularity greater than the one it spun off of. Basically, Jamie Summers was to Steve Austin what Xena was to Hercules. So, why did NBC decide to reboot this series more than 30 years later? Okay, actually the idea to relaunch the series started in 2002 with a proposal to air the show on the USA Network with Jennifer Aniston in the title role. When that fell through, NBC restored the project in 2006, completely reworking the show's concept and giving writing duties to Leda Kalogridis. Yeah, the same one who developed the Birds of Prey series. Is it just me, or are all us internet critics doomed to keep coming back to people involved with crap we reviewed earlier? And to get this out of the way quickly, no, there's no mention of Steve Austin or anyone from The $6 Million Man in this reboot, and there's good reason for it. The $6 Million Man was based on the book Cyborg, and that book's creators retained the rights to many elements of the show. So NBC didn't bother trying to get a license for those properties, and neither the book's author, Martin Caidin, or the show's producer, Kenneth Johnson, received any credit in this new series. Which is understandable, since I'm sure if the producers tried to get a license and the rights holders saw what they were turning the series into, they'd have probably responded with, "Screw you, Blue!" The pilot opens with a trailer for SWAT 4 the movie.
I didn't want to. I'm not in control.
We then cut to our new Jamie Summers, who's now played by Michelle Ryan, a British actress who at the time was most known for a recurring role on EastEnders at one of the lowest points of the soap opera's popularity. For a comparison, imagine if, instead of Christopher Eccleston for the new Doctor Who series, the BBC instead chose to go with Ted McGinley. So in this show, Jamie works as a bartender because clearly audiences couldn't identify with a tennis pro, and she has to care for her rebellious kid sister who was abandoned by their father. Meanwhile, she's dating college professor and surgeon Will Anthos.
Why are you with me?
When your whole life's planned out for you while you're still in the womb, it kind of kills the mystery. And then you came along and you were unexpected.
Unexpected?
The one choice my father didn't make for me. Why not?
I have a job.
Jamie.
And a life.
We're talking Paris.
And I have responsibilities.
Did I mention it's Paris?
I'm pregnant.
Marry me.
Gee, I wonder if she's going to end up keeping the baby. And as if to ram it home even further, quite literally, they're discussing baby names on the ride home when their car gets hit by a semi. And clearly it wasn't an accident because the driver immediately gets out of the rig and walks away, coupled with the fact that she's clearly not a trucker. The DVD collection of this show included a special feature into how much detail was put into the crash sequence, just in case you like seeing how much effort Hollywood puts into their gore. So instead of going to the hospital, Will somehow convinces the ambulance to send her to a biotech research compound where, surprise, surprise, he's actually been working with an organization called the Burkett Group, developing bionic implants to be used in combat.
He has full clearance. We didn't have the authority to stop him. Should I intervene?
No. This operation, this patient doesn't officially exist.
What happened? The baby. What about the baby? Oh, God.
If I can imagine her punching out the writer who put that in there, it might make me feel better. Yet somehow adding in that plot element just pisses me off. Not only could any viewer with an IQ higher than their age see that coming, but since the baby was only mentioned twice in the first 2 acts and barely again for the rest of the series, it serves no purpose except to shovel in more unnecessary angst to our main character. I wonder if the boyfriend's gonna get killed as well. Yeah, I know it's gonna happen. I'm just venting at this point.
Both your legs and your arm had to be replaced. Also, your right ear and right eye. Molecular machines, anthracites, have been substituted for 1/8 of your blood cells.
What have you done to me?
Jamie,
Why did you do this to
you
me?
are going to die.
Because everything has a price in this world, the group, led by Jonas Bledsoe, decides Jamie should be used as a tool for their cause. Burkett appears to be some sort of private military group that fights terrorist groups and international threats without the hassle of government regulation. Because we're clearly supposed to believe a group that doesn't follow our laws and is run by a Miguel Ferrer character clearly represents the good guys.
How long until she's combat ready?
She's a civilian.
Everyone has to sing for their supper around here, Will, or haven't you figured that out yet?
Will doesn't want Jamie turned into a soldier and helps her escape, mainly so we can see how much better this show is at demonstrating Jamie's abilities. We can rebuild these effects. We have the technology. We don't give a crap that the quaint, simple effect of running in slow motion and techno sound effects was charming. Running in slow motion only works for big-boobed women in swimsuits. So yeah, then Will gets shot by the same woman who caused the crash because killing him is what she was trying to do from the start. And even though he could save Jamie from being mutilated in a car crash, regular doctors can't save him from a bullet to the shoulder, and he dies. I haven't been able to confirm this, but this tells me that what likely happened is the producers couldn't get Chris Bowers to appear for more than one episode and had to write him out after the pilot's production. He basically said, F you guys, I can see this thing's gonna suck. I'm taking my check and moving on to Life is Wild before you wreck my career.
Listen, I know this is a hard time.
Listen,
I'm gonna go back to my job and my life and pretend none of this ever happened. So don't call me.
What follows over the next 3 episodes is one of the most convoluted arcs I've seen outside of Lost or the X-Files. The woman who caused the car crash and killed Will is a proto-man version of Jamie named Sarah Corvus. Apparently she was in a car wreck similar to the one she put Jamie in. She was given Bionic some time ago and was dating Burkett member Jay Kim until she went berserk and killed a bunch of people, and Kim killed her, but she somehow survived. Her survival may have had something to do with Will's father, Anthony, who helped develop the Bionics, but then went to prison for reasons never given, and then gets out for reasons never shown. And all of this is with an organization that is supposedly helping to fight all of the threats to our freedom, Jack Bauer style, without any government red tape to worry about. Because it makes perfect sense for our government to even allow such groups to operate legally, when the existence of such rogue military groups that the government claims no responsibility for would give more ammo to other governments claiming no responsibility for terrorist groups in their countries. Get a clue! Despite discovering that Will was actually keeping a file on her even before the crash, Jamie finally agrees to join the Burkett group, at which point Kim and Antonio Pope start training her into being the next version of Sarah, which is such the smart thing to do for an organization that she already doesn't care for due to them spying on her through implanted cameras.
This is why I said we needed 24-hour surveillance.
Well, sir, you also said to hold off on that, something about her right to privacy.
And then Sarah gets at Jamie with this thing about how Will had been studying her and planning to make her bionic from the beginning, claiming that Burkett is just a bunch of black hats, so Jamie doesn't even know who to trust. And all this is going on while Jamie tries to keep her abilities and her job secret from her sister. Is all this starting to sound familiar? Yeah, so basically for this show, they took the concept of Bionic Woman and turned it into Alias, which coincidentally ended its run on ABC just as NBC renewed interest in this show. And for the record, I have nothing against Alias. It's typical J.J. Abrams work that you have to watch each episode multiple times to get half of what's going on. I can go with that. But the coincidence in the storyline with the timing makes it look like NBC was just looking for a cheap way to snag the Alias audience, which would make the Alias fans see this as a cheap knockoff of their show, and the Bionic Woman fans would be pissed off at what they did to the brand name. And before you all dismiss me as some whiny old guy who doesn't like remakes, let me give you an example of a remade show done right. I've actually enjoyed the new Dallas series on TNT because it continues where the first series left off. It could pretty much be called Dallas the Next Generation by remembering the old series and bringing back the original cast to mesh them with the next line in the Ewing family. Okay, it has the advantage of being a primetime soap, but the bottom line is it's true to the original source material, meaning it can appeal to longtime fans of the first show that will be among those drawn to it, and if it appeals to younger viewers, it can get them interested in the original, boosting DVD sales of that series. As bad as the second Get Smart series was, at least they made it a continuation of the original. I know this series was limited by not having the rights to mention the $6 Million Man, but that doesn't mean they had to go in this direction. Heck, given the reputation the USA Network built in the 2000s for the quality of its shows, and that Jennifer Aniston does kind of have similarities to Lindsay Wagner, the original concept for the reboot might have worked. Anyway, the 4th episode cranks up the drama even further by suggesting Will may have been preparing to sell the Bionic's information to outside sources or something, and the information ends up in the hands of a contact that is captured by terrorists. The contact declares that according to Will's files, Jamie will die in 5 years, basically because the Bionics only have that much of a lifespan. Meanwhile, Burkett captures Sarah, who keeps whining about how she wants her own Bionics fixed before she eventually breaks out.
If Will's work is gone, then what? Sarah's gonna die?
I wouldn't want to be in her shoes.
Gee, Sarah, it sounds like killing the one person who had the best chance to grant you what you wanted was a really stupid thing to do. The one good thing about this episode is that it makes it clear that Jonas really cares about Jamie because he calls out her partner for treating her like she's expendable and vows that he will fix the Bionic's flaws.
We will find a way to fix this. Jamie, look at me. I will fix this.
And then, bam! The entire storyline is never talked about again. Sarah, any mention of Will, his father, or the Bionic's flaws, never mentioned again after the first 4 episodes. Instead, the remaining 4 use a standard villain of the week format with single episodes that are only connected in giving Jamie a new love interest in CIA operative Tom Hastings. It's almost like someone got it through their thick skull that the grim, edgy, convoluted style wasn't working. Maybe if you tried that from the beginning, the show might have lasted longer. Or maybe not, because here's where things get muddled as to what led to the show's fate. This, like many other shows, was hit hard by the screenwriters' strike in 2007, and NBC really kept this show in limbo as to whether or not they were sticking with it. They supposedly assured the producers that it would continue after the strike to at least make 13 episodes for the first season, which is why the DVD release was under the name Volume 1. Stories published by the AP predicted that those remaining episodes wouldn't air until at least the 2008 season, if ever, and when the show was finally dropped, NBC's report indicated that they considered the first season finished with the 8 episodes that aired. So I guess I can lump this one as another show with potential that NBC screwed over like so many other shows have gotten in the past. No, I can't! This show flat out sucked! The main plot line is confusing as hell, few if any characters come off as engaging, and giving this franchise a more dark, so-called modern realistic theme just comes off as executives saying the original's concept was stupid to the chagrin of the original's fans. The remake's reception was not good even as it ran. Lindsay Wagner herself said, "I don't think they understood the show. It was like a lot of things today, angry and dark. Bottom line, they slapped a classic show's title on their own concept that tried to make it grim and grittier, and it bombed." I think I'm gonna go watch a marathon of I Dream of Jeannie episodes and hope no one finds a way to reboot and screw up that franchise. More than they already did with the TV movies. See you next time!
Cursed Rowdy and his stupid cats, thinking he can just mess with my plans while making all his stupid videos about all those silly TV shows.
Oh, please, my queen, let me be the one to take care of them. I've wanted to deal with that pompous ass for so long. I always liked Veronica Mars.
Ah, shut up, you pathetic plan of mine has got to go off flawlessly. This one possesses great power, and when I find out where he is, I will take it from him, and the world will be mine!